Good morning, everyone. As you know, we have been doing chapter 1 from part 1 of your textbook, which is accounting and its terminology. So far, we have had 3 lectures related to the same chapter. Yes, the very first lecture was about the introduction of this chapter, its meaning and definition and meaning of accounting, the introduction that what accounting actually is. I've also explained that the subject is new, how to get used to it. Yes. Then in the second lecture we have understood the characteristics of accounting. Yes. And in the third lecture we have had an idea about objectives of accounting. I have explained these things in detail and in a simple manner which creates an easy understanding. Yeah. And I have also asked you to write down the definition, the head points of characteristics, the head points of objectives of accounting, yes, in your fair book once. The reason that I haven't asked you to write down the detail of objectives and characteristics is that the detail is just to be understood. You need to read the detail thoroughly, and when the question appears in your exam, you need to write it down on your own. Yes, you should study the lecture, then you should read the topic thoroughly in your textbook. Then you should memorize only the head points in case of the long answers or theory, I can say. And then you should be able to write down these answers on your own. Yes? This is what the children of higher secondary do. We have, you all are grown-ups now. Yes? So you should be able to elaborate any answer or any question given to you. Alright? So this is our fourth lecture, which is again completely based on theory. The first chapter is, of course, the entire theory chapter that you need to understand. And as I said, it is the language of accounting. So firstly, you need to learn the language of accounting to solve the practical examples ahead. Yeah? So let us see what is the topic for today. So here it is. Our topic for today is advantages of accounting. This probably is the last topic for a long theory. After this, we'll be starting with the terminology of accounting, which is extremely important. Yes? So let us begin. You can also have a look to this topic if you have your textbook with you. Obviously, we have the head points here, but in detail, you'll read it in your textbook along with the explanation given to you in this lecture. So the topic is advantages of accounting. I request you all to please ignore the sound appearing in background, if any, during entire lecture. Yes. So advantages of accounting. And one more thing before I start explaining this topic, is that you should watch this video lecture till end for complete understanding. And also you should have come across the previous 3 lectures. Yes, you should study all the lectures in order, not like you have studied the first lecture, then you skipped second one, and directly you start watching third lecture. No, that cannot be possible to make understanding in your mind. So please always follow the order. Yes? Fine then. the advantages, and the very first point is availability of accounting information. Okay, you know very well what is accounting. Yes, it is the record of transaction, classifying, summarizing, interpreting. Yes, we have understood this in definition as well as in the topics of characteristics, objectives, etc. etc. In short, we have had a long idea. So, this point says that the information is available at any point of time. Now, firstly, let us understand who prepares accounts. Obviously, the owner. Accounting information is prepared by any owner of any business. Yes? And if this information is ready available, it can be used by the owner as and when it is needed. Yes, see, if you are having a proper record of the things that are happening in your business, yes, so this information is having ample of uses. Yes, so whenever the owner of the business is in need of this information, yes, it can be utilized. Say for example, the owner wants to obtain a loan from a bank. So the loan is not given without any paperwork or any of the proper evidence available, evidence in the sense documents, sorry. So you need to present some proper information that yes, you are a person who can be given loan from the bank. Yes, some credit worthiness you need to show. So if the owner of the business wants to obtain a loan from the bank, he'll produce the prepared accounting information of his economic status and can obtain the loan. Of course, if the economic status of your business is good, only then bank will allot you the loan. Why? Because you need to repay the amount of loan. And on the basis of accounting information presented by owner, the bank will decide that whether the bank should give loan or not. I've explained this point, what actually economic status is. Yes? So your accounting information presents your economic status, and on the basis of economic status of your business, you may get the facilities provided by bank. The loan is one such. All right. So the next point is to know profitability. All right. To know profitability, I think we've understood this point while we were understanding the objectives of accounting. To know the profit of the business. Yes, to measure profitability of business. Now, business is an activity carried out to make profit, of course. Yes. Business is an activity carried out to make profit. Loss might occur in any of the circumstances. But if you will keep a record of each and every transaction of your business, then at the end of the accounting year, you will get to know how much is the profit of the business. Yes? You'll get to know how much profit is earned or how much loss is incurred by the business. Yes? It can be profit, it can even be loss in several circumstances. So, to know that particular thing, the information is provided by accounting, the books of accounts, everything is written inside it. So, once you'll interpret it, you'll get to know whether it is loss or it is profit. And if it is profit, then how much is the amount of profit? Yes? Next, let us see, to know financial status. This can be considered the point similar to economic status, the point highlighted while we were understanding the objectives of accounting. Yeah. So to know financial status, they say at the end of the period, which period? The accounting year. What is the size of liability for a business can be ascertained. What is a liability now? Liability is any amount payable to any outsiders. Liability, in simple language, if we want to understand, it is उधार पे लिए गए पैसे or can say उधार पे लिया गया any sort of goods or any something that you are supposed to pay, something which is left to be paid. Yes, the amount that you are supposed to pay to a certain person, certain institution, certain institute, that is a liability. Yes. So at the end of the accounting year, you'll get to know what is the amount of liability. Yeah? If the size of liability of business is more, अब जो payment है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है, if the size of liability is more, then the economic condition of that business is indicated weak. If you remember, we had a point that the amount of assets is more than liabilities. It indicates the good economic condition. And if the amount of liability is higher compared to the assets is actually the property of business, then it indicates weak economic condition. Financial status is weak. How do you get to know this? Again, from the information presented in accounting. Alright? And basically, economic status can be ascertained through balance sheet. Balance sheet is not an account, it is a statement. It is a statement prepared at the end of the year, which presents the information of assets and liabilities in your business. I mean the position of assets and liabilities at the end of the year. It shows economic status of business actually. So to know financial status is an important advantage of accounting. Why? Because the necessary information indicating financial status is presented in the books of accounts. Alright? Okay. Let us move to the next point, that is tax planning. Alright, I think again this point has been discussed previously, if I'm not wrong, but let us revise. You see, almost the objectives and advantages of accounting are nearly same. Yes, many of the points are getting repeated. Yeah, tax planning. Sorry. You know very well what is a tax. Yes, tax is to be paid on earned income, and obviously it is to be paid by every business unit in different forms. Now, the size of tax is based on quantum of transactions of business. Quantum of transactions, that is the total number of transactions of business. Yes? So, all the transactions are recorded in the books of accounts. Yes? And on the basis of such transactions, what amount of tax is to be paid for respective period is ascertained. Yes, you have recorded all the transactions happening in your business, right? So you have recorded the necessary information. Yeah? So on the basis of that particular information, the amount of tax payable for respective period can be ascertained. Yes? And also from this information, planning for tax payable during the period can be made. that how much amount of tax is payable can be ascertained from the transactions that have been recorded in the books of accounts. Alright, let us see which is the next point. Alright, valuation of business. In practice, sometimes an owner sells his own business to another person. I'm reading this in your textbook if you want to read the detail along with this lecture. So what they are trying to say is, say for example, a person wants to sell its own business. Yes? So obviously he will sell everything that is present in the business. But now the question arises that what is the amount of selling? I mean, what is the selling price of business? How do you get to know? Will you decide any amount, any random amount? No, of course you'll make necessary calculations. Just the way you make it every time. If you want to sell a product, if you are selling any sort of unit, you need to know firstly that what amount should I charge? What should be the selling price for this? So similarly, the valuation of business, the value of business that you want to sell should be obtained first, should be calculated. Now, how do you calculate that? Accounting information helps in doing that. The books of accounts that you've been writing, the owner who is keeping the record of transactions, the accounting information, on that basis you will find out the value of your business. The business valuation can be obtained from the accounting information presented in the books of accounts. How? Because the value of assets, the position of liabilities, the number of transactions, the amount of profit that takes place every year, everything is present in the books of accounts. This helps you in taking a proper decision about valuation of business. Once you want to sell it, you need to find out what should be the selling price of business. This simply means that what is the amount that I should charge in return for selling my business. And that can be known from the accounting information, that is books of accounts. Yeah? Alright, let us see which is the next point. It is decision making. Obviously, now this is again not a new point. Decision making. In simple words, whenever you want to make any sort of decision, we are not talking about the decisions related to accounting only, but in general, whenever you want to make any sort of decision, firstly, you'll study that concept. You'll study entire things related to that particular thing about what you want to make a proper decision. Yes? You will study all the aspects related to that matter about which you want to make a decision. Similarly, the accounts of company are used by several stakeholders. Stakeholders are the people having interest with the business, having interest in business. They can be creditors, shareholders, investors for their investment decision. The person who wants to invest in your business, yes, obviously you know who are the investors. You might have come across a word, that investor, yes, the shareholders. So if a person is planning to invest in your business, he should have complete information about your business, isn't it? Yes, only then that person will be able to arrive at a proper decision. And where does the complete information arrive from? From the books of accounts. So that the person who wants to invest in your business will study the accounting information presented by you, and then accounting plays vital role in decision making. Only then the person will arrive at a proper decision. Once the person has studied the basic, not basic, every information in accounts. Yes, the position of your business, whether the person should invest or not. Yeah, fine. So let us see what is the next point. The seventh point is as an evidence. Now you know very well what is an evidence. It is a proof. Any transaction that has taken place in your business is recorded in the books of accounts along with the date and necessary information. Yes, so this becomes an evidence in future dates. Yes. This point is really important. See, just because you're having every information disclosed in the books of accounts, like as I said, it can be accepted as an evidence. So, in future, in case if any dispute arises, then accounts are used as an evidence. Say for example, in case of any dispute in the context of account between partners of a partnership firm, like say for example there are 2 to 3 people working together in a business, and each and every information related to that particular business is written down in the books of accounts. Yes, so there is definitely going to be some deal among the partners. Yes, and in future if any sort of dispute arises among the partners, that dispute can be solved with the help of accounts. The information presented in books of accounts, which can be accepted as an evidence. The next point that we have is comparison with past operations. Obviously, now you are writing down the transactions every year, in every accounting year. Yes? And on such basis, you obtain the necessary information about what is the position of your business, what was your position in last year or a previous year or previous to previous year. Yes, and what is the position right now. Every year you write down the transactions, you record them, and you arrive at a decision that what is the position of my business, what is its economic status, whether it is making profit or the business incurs loss. If it is profit, then how much? How do you get to know this? Once you will compare it with the past operations, that what was the position in past and what is the position now. Yes, this is how the benefit of comparison of accounting information is available. Alright, let us see the next point. It is moral control. See, now accounts are in written form. From the very beginning, we have been understanding that we write down every information. Yes, so once a particular thing, once it is written, it becomes an evidence. Because it was not an oral communication, it is written down. That means it is recorded. Thus, the chances of fraud made by employees are reduced. In case if anyone wants to cheat, then it's not possible. Why? Because there is a written proof of everything. Yes, so the chances of fraud taking place are reduced, and also accounting assists to keep moral control over the employees. Employees are the people working at your place under you. So once each and every information or every transaction or anything happening in your business is written down in accounts, then the written thing becomes an evidence, and thus any of the chances of fraud taking place are reduced. Then the last point, which is corrective measures, the important point of all. And as I said, this is the last topic for long theory. From next lecture, we are going to deal with the terminology of accounting, which is very interesting topic. And obviously, it is easy to understand. Okay, so the last point, that is corrective measures. Okay. See, once you have a record of everything, of every year, the past years and the current years, yes, you can take necessary corrective measures, like the previous year profit was so and so, and this year it is so and so. So what are the measures that I should take to improve the amount of profit higher and higher every year? You get to know this once you study the information that you have recorded in past years and current years. In case if any mistakes have occurred, yes, those mistakes should not be repeated. Some proper corrective measures should be taken to avoid the happening, to avoid the recurrence of such mistakes. And proper corrective measures and necessary care should be taken, that these are the mistakes that we have committed in past years or maybe the current year, which has reduced the profit. So these mistakes should not be repeated now, so that we can make a proper and better profit in future years. Yes. Now it also improves the management of business. You know, the mistakes that have been committed in past years, once you will study the accounting information that you've presented, yes, you'll get to know what are the mistakes committed in past years. Once you get to know them, obviously, you will try to find out what are the measures to overcome these mistakes. What are the corrective decisions that I should take so that I do not repeat, the mistakes are not repeated in coming future years. Yes? So, this way, these are the advantages of accounting. We have 10 points overall. I have only presented the head points of this. If you want to read this in detail, you should use your textbook. And just that we are done with the topic, this is your homework for today. That you should write down the head points once in your fair book, only head points. And you should read in detail these points, the advantages, and try to memorize the same. You will try to memorize the head points and you will read the detail, and you will also write down the head points once in your fair book. Alright, so the next session that we are going to have is of terminology of accounting, which is a very important and interesting topic. So please be ready with your textbook and necessary essentials in the next lecture, just like you have it in every lecture. and please do your homework on regular basis. We'll see you all soon in the next session. Till then, stay home and study well.